Okay, it is Monday, May 10th, and let's get this video out. Thought I would follow up to the several posts over the weekend in terms of some more thoughts on last week and phasing into certainly this week's trading. And it's been pretty apparent, I think, that I spent most of the weekend thinking about the events of last week in my own trading. I use this blog as a mechanism for me to document my thoughts, and this has always been about certainly allowing people to look over my shoulder. But especially when I feel a need to, I will go back and use this as my diary. And you could probably tell the more I thought about it, the more I realized I had things to think about, and I wanted to use this as a form to do that. And it's been interesting, and I'll segue into a congratulations and a farewell again to Dr. Brett Steenbarger, whose final post today appeared on his Trader Feed blog. Brett has a wealth of intellectual capital there that he's going to leave up. And again, farewell to Brett and best wishes to him. Similarly, in terms of this blog, I'm not planning on ending it, but hopefully what you found is an accumulation of intellectual capital that reflects the journey and the life of a trader. And we'll be coming up on 2 years certainly. And by the way, I use this blog. I look back at times. When I'm down and I need a boost, I look back at some of the better times. When I'm on rolls, I'll go back and look at some of the slumps. I'm not a big person and a big fan of looking back, and I've said that many times, but there are times when I do that, and it's easy for me to do that via the blog, and one of the reasons I have the key post list in the lower left hand margin is so that I can go back and pick out various efforts and times. So anyway, I wanted to share that, but I've got a lot of mail on Thursday, Friday, and the weekend posts, and I apologize. I have not been able to respond to it at all. Obviously, the viewership for some reason, the YouTube video is now going on 1,500 views almost, and I'm not quite sure. Again, we had some fun over the weekend about the car crash analogy and that kind of thing, but as I said, I really do think that this has been an opportunity for the entire trading community to come together. We may agree or disagree on various, facets of this industry, but when it comes right down to it, we are all traders. We are all brothers and sisters of an industry, just like athletes are. And I think what you'll find at times is crises seem to bring people together, and that predominantly has been the perspective that I've gotten over the past couple of days. But I wanted to follow up and talk to some of you who got damaged. And I know I've also gotten mail from people who did well and some people very well. And by the way, a few of the jellies did very well because they were paying attention to the VIX. And you've seen my third post this weekend, which it was my fault. It was my fault. I tend to be less focused in the afternoon. I tend to get a little distracted. And for whatever reason, I was not paying attention to one of the most important indicators that we use, and that was my mistake. I remedied that, and as I said, once I got in the middle of traffic, and I had to make a decision based at that time. Once I probably shouldn't have stepped off the curb. I should have shut down the liquidity providing business when I saw the indicators start to move, because they're all leading indicators as well before it happened. But once I got out into the traffic, I had to make a decision on whether to give up a finger, knowing that I might get the finger back if I just held in there, or above all, save the arm and the hand. And I chose to give up the finger, and it'll take me some time to get that back, and I'm working through that process. Again, having said all of that, I really want to address one element of this business which I don't see discussed much, and that is this whole concept of the accumulation of capital in the black swan event. And if you may recall, there was a poster several months ago when I was working on increasing my sizes toward block size status, and this poster was saying, well, aren't you concerned about a black swan event, which, if you're not familiar with the concept, is a extraordinary, once in a lifetime, out of the blue event that will only happen probably once in your lifetime. And my response at that time was well, not really, because I mean, what can you do? I mean, you're going to step off the curb a lot in your life, and if you're afraid about that one time when you might get hit by the bus, you'll never step off the curb. Maybe I shouldn't have stepped off the curb on Friday, but I did, and then I had to deal with it. But the concept I want to emphasize here is this whole idea about accumulation of capital. Some traders will tell you that their goal in trading, is to build up as much capital as they can so they can avoid the black swan, or they can protect themselves against the black swan. The name of this game, as much as we all come to work every day trying to make money, okay, and you've seen some ungodly streaks at times, and I try to remind people during those times, the first quarter of what was it, 2009, 3 losses and that sort of thing, that's not the norm. Okay, you have to realize that this business and your life will go in cycles, as I mentioned the other day, and so the name of this game is to build up the capital. When I look at my financial records, my personal financial records, and my balances, okay, I take 10% right off the top. I don't even look at it. I actually have an entry booked in my ledger that takes 10% right off the top. So I don't even view that I have it. And I plan my life accordingly. And the reason for that is that you're going to go through times when the lesser probability outcome will happen in consecutive times and in a what looks like crazy fashion. You will have slumps, and you will, if you trade long enough, run into a black swan event. Okay. And statistically, by the way, last Thursday I read somewhere where, from a standard deviation perspective, we're talking, especially with the currency, something like 6, 7, 8 standard deviations, which is almost impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it gets that extreme. And so for whatever reason, maybe it's a brain cramp of your own that puts you in a black swan situation. The name of the game is to try to build yourself enough capital so that you can withstand it and build up enough where even if you lose it, it will not affect you to the point of going out of business. Okay. There were many traders, and I know some of them, so this has everything, as the God's honest truth in this blog, that went out of business on Thursday. Right? Their capital was obliterated. It's unfortunate, but it happened. Okay. I also am aware, based on mail, that many traders got hurt. If you are a liquidity provider, or if you fade markets, that was the extent of that move. I mean, I can't even put a number on it. Again, we use standard deviations, but it's a very, very, very small fashion. When I started buying, I was early at 11:20. That order should not have been made. But once I get down toward 1100, and the Dow was down, I don't know what it was down at that point, 500, 600, I don't know what the number was. I don't have a great problem with that one. And probably, 999 times out of 1,000, that would have been the right thing to do, and it would have been a very profitable trade. But forget about the sequence, about my sequence. The point is that you've got to build yourself enough capital. Okay, that is the name of this game. You've got to build yourself insurance to get you through slumps. Okay, I don't know if I said it already, but I'm in a bit of a funk today. I had a good day Friday, had a draw today. It wasn't huge. I fought myself back a little bit. Just not in sync. Not great on Mondays anyway. And so I'm working through this getting back in rhythm type situation. Thursday affected me. The more I thought about it, the more it affected me. A little bit more than I thought it would, and a little bit more than it should. Okay, I'm human, so working through that process. But my point is, again, build up that capital and mentally, keep in mind that's not all yours. I think that will help you over the long run. It will help you remember that the good times will be good, and they will be there, and they will return. And over the long run, it's the body of work which is important. The accumulation of short-term decisions. Okay, never get caught up on a specific day, or week, or month. Okay. My thought for today, coming up on 10 minutes again. I guess that's all I've got. We'll keep blogging away. Going on 1,500 views of Thursday's video. So I guess there's a need for what we're doing here. I hope you continue to find it helpful. That Saturday Night Live skit was hysterical, and it was a good laugh for me anyway. Take care, and we will see you later in the week.